Hi, Gosha. It's so nice to have you here. Thank you so much for coming to my show. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. I love doing this. And speaking with you for half an hour about things that fascinate me, amazing.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Today we have an exciting topic to talk about, and I feel it's one that so many people can relate to. Because as we all know, it's January, it's the month of making positive changes to your life. Everybody is sort of questioning, what they've learned in the previous year and what they would like to achieve in this year, in the new year. And here we are, and lots of people are setting new goals and new targets, something they want to achieve. But you talk a lot in your lectures and in your courses and in your book about the power of positive intentions. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because that sounds fascinating. And I think positive intentions is not something that many people do or practice.
Yes, I think this is very important to understand the difference between
Yeah.
goals and intentions. And in fact, I would have to say that sometimes when we set goals, they could be quite dangerous,
Mhm.
exhausting. We can get burn out if we are sort of working on goals that we've set out at the beginning of the year, which are completely out of sync with who we really are and
Mm.
with our soul. So, goal is set for achieving something which is outside of you often, and
Mhm.
there is very measurable aspect to it, and you have to put some action into and work on it, but it's sort of set a little bit outside of you. Okay.
Yeah.
um Buy something, um go somewhere, buy a car, be invited. It somehow the power is a little bit outside of you,
Mhm.
but the intention, it's focused on here and now. On, for instance, I could have had a goal to speak on a podcast with you. That could have been a goal and it was very measurable. But now we are, let's say, together. My intention is that I feel completely relaxed, that you
Mhm.
feel relaxed and full of inspiration and joy and peace. And every single person who will listen to it will be touched in some deep way, and that their life will be transformed completely. And that while I'm speaking, I will be connecting with my greatest wisdom. There is
Mm.
nothing outside of me. It is all about my connection with myself, with the audience, with the listeners, and with life in this very moment. So
Mm.
when we set intention for the day, we're setting intention on how we want to feel, how do we want to be, how our relationships are going to be with someone,
Right.
and rather than achieving things that they are very good to achieve. Let's say goals are very good to set, but it's important to combine them with intentions. Intentions when you cook a soup, that you putting your
Mm.
good energy. So your
Yeah.
goal is, I want to feed my family. Okay, it's a goal. But my intention is that the soup that I will make today will be deeply nourished and it will heal everyone, and people will
Mm.
eat the soup and feel so happy. Do you
Mm.
see that? Does it
So,
make sense?
yes, absolutely. So, I just want to highlight here because this is so important and I don't want anybody to miss that. So, the way I see it is that the intention is almost like this one thing that set our minds in a positive way, looking forward to the event and almost visualizing and taking that charge of what we want, what the key outcome should be. So let's say we have an event
Yes.
that might be a little stressful. Maybe, we predict it might be stressful in our mind. Maybe it's a meeting with our boss. And the goal would be to get a certain outcome from that meeting, right? But the intention could be that we both leave this, we co-create during this meeting, and we both leave this meeting satisfied and happy with the outcome. So when we go into the meeting with that intention in mind, we almost creating the end result by having the positive attitude towards what we really want. Have
Yes.
I explained that well?
You explained it beautifully, and in fact, I remembered one very fascinating story. So I had a client who wanted to get a specific job. She said, "I'm
Mhm.
going to go and get it. This is the job I want, and it will happen. I know it will happen." And I said, "That's fantastic. You've got this positive intention about it, but let's check on a scale from 1 to 10. How appropriate is it? Let's use our intuition for you to get this job." So I have this special technique that I show to my clients how to use. And we close our eyes, we connect it to the boss, to the company, we connect it to her soul's perspective. And the number came out, I think it was about 6 out of 10. So it wasn't 10 out of 10, it was very low, because things are good when it's like 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10,
Mhm.
10 out of 10. So she
Yeah.
said, "Well, what do I do? I have the interview now." And I said to her, "How would you want to feel while you're there?" And she said, "Actually, I want to be, in this case, if it's not the best for me, I want to feel totally relaxed. I want to feel totally peaceful. I want to feel happy. And I want them to get something from me, something useful."
Mhm.
She said, "I've done a lot of research on this company. I know what they're doing wrong." And I said, "Well, why don't you share something with them, which will be very helpful?" So, anyway, she went to the meeting. It was the third interview. So, it wasn't the
Yeah.
first, it was third. There was three people there. I think one of them was the director. She was so deeply and completely relaxed. And she said, "By the way, guys, I have a little suggestion for you." And she sort of made some suggestions. They
Mm.
made a note of it. And they said, "Do you mind if we just come back to you in a moment?" So she went for a cup of tea. They met again, and they said, "We've discussed here with our board, and we so love who you are. You are so great, and we don't want to offer you this job because it's not good for you. We want to offer you something completely different." She earned twice as much money, a lot more responsible, a little bit scary, but
Mm.
they saw her greatness. They saw how powerful she
Mm.
is. She
Proactive in
proactive,
her
and she was
approach.
in her leadership. But
Mm.
she's, you see, if she went ahead with the previous plan, "I want to get this bloody job," okay, and she pushed, if she got this, she probably wouldn't be fulfilled, satisfied, and she would maybe leave, or they would fire her in the next few
Mm.
months.
Mm.
But because, for number one, she set an intention: "I want to be peaceful, I want to be relaxed, I want there to be win-win for both, me and them," and
Mm.
she used intuition. That's when her um, life has changed for the better. So you see,
Yeah.
this is a beautiful example, and you've explained it beautifully. So remember, whenever you start anything, whether it's your day, your month, your year, you're going to a date, you're going for an interview or whatever, set intention of how you want to feel when you're there, and for the best thing happen for everyone involved, because it may not be the best job for you
Exactly, which is
or the
often
best
what we
man.
forget about, right? And
Yes.
here we come to the next point, which is again really crucial for people to understand. It's the goals we set. So we all set goals on regular basis. There could be professional goals, personal goals, family goals, you name it. But what is the difference? I believe in your book and in some of the lectures as well you were talking about the difference between the goals that come from your soul and the goals that come from your ego. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that,
Yes, I
please?
feel so excited about it. And that's why I always talk about it at the beginning of the year in my January courses.
Mm.
So, a goal that comes from your soul, and it is more related to what you came here to do on this planet. So, let's just say that since you were very young, you wanted to sing, and you constantly sang. Or you wanted to draw, and you drew a lot of things, and then somehow things life became busy, and you stopped singing and
Yeah,
painting, right?
yeah.
And there was something always missing.
Yeah.
And one day you sort of sit and you meditate, or you walk, and or someone invites you somewhere, and you go, oh my god, that was so beautiful, this exhibition, I want to paint again. Okay,
Yes,
because
exactly.
I knew that I always wanted to paint, and you start painting, and okay, and then suddenly in January you think, how would it be if I open my own exhibition? Yes, I want to do a little exhibition. You see, it becomes a goal,
Hmm.
and and it is joyful. It's exciting. If you're connected to your intuition, it flows more easily. But
Yeah.
let's say you've never painted. You don't have you don't have um, any talent in it, or even interest, and you see someone else started painting, and you go, well,
Yes.
if John is painting, I also want to start painting. Okay,
Yeah.
you go to the
So
class.
let's just, that's the goal set from ego, right?
Yes, that's right.
That's the
That's
one.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the quality of a goal that comes from the ego, it's set around the energy. I should do this. I must. I ought to. Comparing yourself to others, feeling you're not good enough. You're too fat, too poor, whatever. And when the ego beats you up, and you set your intention from that, set your goal from that, then the goals that we go about achieving sometimes can exhaust us, and they become
Mm.
dangerous. Okay,
Yeah. Oh, I see.
so you or I or some one of my clients, she said, I want this man, this is the man I want. Okay,
Mm.
and I'm going to do everything to get him.
Yeah,
And actually she
I
made,
get.
she had a heartbreak, and it was really disappointing, and she got him, but actually it was the worst possible thing. But if you set a goal, or in an intention, this year I would love to meet a love of my life, and for that relationship to be peaceful, joyful, and for us to bring the best out of each other. And I want to be truly happy with this man, for instance, right?
Mm.
So this is actually a goal and intention, okay?
Hmm.
But you're focusing on something that you deeply want. If you, again, ego says, look, you are 35, you are single, everybody's getting married, you're going to miss out on being a mom. And I had a client like that
Exactly.
three
Yeah.
days ago, and she says, I'm 43, I may not have a child. I quickly need to find a husband. And she was like on a hunt. She was stressed out. The man smelled a rat. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
that's what I say. Yeah.
yeah, and so I think that it's important to understand that when you set a goal for the year, ask yourself, why is this so important? Why
Mm.
do I want it? What will and why? Okay, so you answer this. And if you feel some sort of sadness or anger or pain or fear, clear it first,
Mm.
okay? And make sure that when you think about your goal, you feel joyful, you feel
Mm.
expanded, you feel excited. This is the word, right? Like you said a few minutes ago, excited. And then it feels like you're spreading your wings when you're going to do it,
Mm.
rather than beating yourself up.
And it comes naturally to you as well, even more importantly, because for me that thing is dancing, for example. So exactly, I resonate totally with what you just discussed, because ever since I was a little girl, I was going to private dancing classes. I did ballroom dancing, I did all the cha-cha, zumba, you name it. I was great at it. I enjoyed it. I even participated in some shows locally. And I was, if I wanted to go ahead with that, I could probably end up quite successful at it. But different things happen, and lots of distractions, and choosing your university. And sometimes we get sidetracked from our true passions. And now I find that dance is what finds me itself whenever I feel joyful, is I dance.
There we
And
go.
it may make no sense to anyone who listens to this, but it's crazy, because it's like what my body wants to do, and my body just hears the music. And sometimes I make the whole house dance by putting some funny tracks, and even dressing up and dancing to it, and doing some dance routines. And it's we are so happy doing it, and I feel like I'm in my spirit totally. So now, whenever comes to New Year's resolution, I always say to myself, I need to find time to book some classes and need to find my style of a class where I dedicate my time to dancing because I love it. And for a number of different reasons, I never really get around to do it, but it's what comes naturally to me. And it's that goal, that intention, and that goal set from my soul.
I'm so glad that you've given me this example, because you've taken me to the next point here.
Oh, great.
Um,
Yeah.
Dancing, the fact that you want to dance, okay, it comes deeply from your soul. And this is when you're feeling
Mm,
joyful. And so,
mm,
a question that I encourage people to ask is this: if I allowed myself to have more joy in my life, what would I do? Okay. And you
mm,
make a list. If I allowed myself to have more joy in my life this year, what would I be doing? Okay.
mm,
So for you, it's dancing. And then you take a diary, you look at your calendar, and you go and you put it in your diary. Okay.
mm.
And you just simply, like, you make an appointment with a dentist, or friend, or appointment related to making, some career steps. It's exactly the same way. Why we don't do that? Why don't we get around doing things? Because we don't give an importance to joy, to
Yeah.
fun. No, we need to clean, cook, look
We
after the
postpone it.
children. Yes,
We have
we
the habit
postpone.
of postponing it. Yeah.
We postponed life.
Mm,
We think that cooking, cleaning, looking after children, and making money is life. It's actually an addition to life. What
mm,
life is like when people say, now I feel so alive. You know, Ella, you know that I've worked with cancer patients for 20 years, right? And
mhm,
I work in a breast cancer clinic. And one of the things that I've given them as a homework is to look at things in their life that they did that drain their energy away,
right.
that made them feel sick even thinking about it, but they forced themselves to do it. And the homework was to do less of them or none of them. And they said to me, Gosha, I perceive I would never say this to anyone, but I perceive the cancer as a blessing. I said, why is
Mm.
that? And they said, because finally started doing what I want.
It's a reset, isn't it?
Finally started dancing. I finally started writing. Finally started taking myself away for a weekend, leaving my kids with my husband, and being with my best friends and meditating. I finally do yoga and I don't feel guilty. And
Mm,
so I said, so essentially, finally, you're living.
yeah.
And they said, yes. So let's not wait till we get sick,
Yeah.
brokenhearted, divorced. Do life now, So I
Mm,
want you to now. People will be witnessing it.
yeah.
Eli, I'm your witness, and every single person who will listen to this podcast, it's a witness to the statement. So tell us, what would you love to see happening in the area of dancing this year for you?
Oh, um, I think I would like to join some semi-professional dancing group and maybe have one show this year somewhere.
Okay, now
So that's
close
my
your eyes.
goal.
Now close your
Hmm.
eyes, and I want you to feel it. Imagine that you are having your show. Your husband is there, your friends are there, I am there, and there is a show, and you did really, really, really well. And tell me, how are you feeling?
At ease with life, at ease with myself, um, completely exhilarated and in love with life, in essence.
Exactly. And now look, how did it affect your husband and your son and your relationship?
Very, very, in a very positive way,
In what way?
because I became a more easygoing, more relaxed, more positive, easier to be around, and not just frustrated and tired most of the time.
Exactly. So great. So your future self, who has taken part in this competition or the show, what advice would she give you today?
Find time every week to do a bit of dancing.
Brilliant. Okay, so my homework for you is that you go and you find one of those groups and you sign up. And if you don't, I'll come and find you.
I bet you will, actually. Cool. Well, this was super. Thank you so much, Gosha. I want to ask a few more questions before we finish.
Yes.
So we covered the intentions and the huge positive power of intentions and setting them. We talked about goals, and for those goals that to be making sure they come from our soul, from our spirit. You also you work with people across the world. You've worked with thousands of people in the last 20 years, as we know. And you know, undoubtedly came across lots of limitations in them, or they identified limitations in themselves thanks to your help. And very often you mention about the fear. So the fear is what stops us from living fulfilling life. Is fear really, do most of us really suffer so much and are unable to open our wings because of fear? And what type of fear are we talking about here?
Okay. First of all, I would like to show the cover of my book, The Expansion Game. I
Mm-hmm.
created a specific methodology on how to deal with fear. And the fears that I describe in this book, they are called expansive fears.
Okay.
Fears that are there to expand us.
Mm-hmm.
So when we come across a fear, we tend to shrink and stop actually doing what we really, really want to do, like
Mm-hmm.
changing a job, making more money, dancing, becoming a
Mm-hmm.
professional dancer, like you, for instance, right? Writing a book and so on and so forth. And the fears are, I'm not good enough. I will be judged. I will be laughed at. My husband may not want me to dance,
Yeah.
he may be disappointed with me, whatever. I call them expansive fears because behind the biggest fear, it's your biggest success. And we
Right.
need to dance like you like dancing. I like dancing with fears, my fears, my clients' fears. So if we learn how to dance with fears, then we will succeed in life. We will succeed because it's a natural part of our existence, stepping out of comfort zone. But
Yes.
we need to understand why those fears are there. They are there to protect us. So when you
Mm-hmm.
think about the way our brain is made,
Yeah.
we have that part in us that is there to protect us and says,
Mm-hmm.
do not do it,
Mm-hmm.
because if you do it, it will be dangerous. Okay,
Yes.
so we have hardwired that,
Our subconscious
into
mind. Mm-hmm.
into our subconscious mind not to do new things, not to step out of our comfort zone because it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Subconscious mind is there to protect you from harm, emotional harm, physical, and other ones. But then we have our soul, we have the superconscious mind that wants you to expand, have fun, and create. And they are in virtually constant battle. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
question is, who is behind the steering wheel?
Yes.
If it's your subconscious mind who is fearful, programmed, carries past life memories and
Mm.
childhood wounds, if this part is behind the steering wheel, you'll be procrastinating, frustrated, disappointed, and
And never do anything new and exciting.
that's right.
Never try anything, never start a new challenge. Sorry. Or get a new hobby.
Yes.
And I love what you said there. And I just want to add to that as well that how do we ensure the right part of the brain is doing most of the talking? By practicing creating new habits. Because by creation of new habits, such as in my case, dancing, for
Yes.
example, we are storing that memory in our subconscious mind, and that becomes part of our subconscious belief, unconscious belief, and it's a positive one. So we need to create more of those neural connections between neurons in order to, for the right part of our mind, the part that wants to expand, drive us in life. instead of giving into that part that holds us back from expansion and growth. So creating new habits, doing something, I always talk in my podcast about do something you love. Find time to do something you love, because the things you love bring you fun, joy, lightness, and they make you a happier person. And if you make a habit out of this jogging or running or dancing or cooking or creating or painting, once it becomes a regular habit, it really significantly boosts your mental health, your happiness. But yes, going back to the fear, we get it. It's a very good, very well explained point that it's the part of our brain that wants us to protect us, that same brain that many centuries ago would want to protect us from a tiger or a lion attacking us, that tells us to run. That same part of the brain makes us quite reactive and angry when something doesn't go our way. So we need to allow more lightness in our life. And the last point, you have an event coming up soon. Can you tell us more about it? Because I'm sure some of the listeners could benefit from it. When is it taking place again?
Well, very soon, and it's on the 21st of Jan. It's going to be recorded if you can't join it. And what we actually, it's called Open Your Wings. It's all about releasing all the potential programs, ideas, and
Those fears, right?
that may stop you this year
Yeah.
from living your life with open wings. And so basically, we're going to becoming. We're going to make a clear decision to become a master manifester instead of master of limitations. Because when we have very clear intention that this year is going to be a year of fulfillment, joy, expansion, and growth, which includes working with fear, we are going to get there, but we need to have the tools. So on the 21st, we're going to work with releasing, letting go, reprogramming, and asking yourself, what do I really want to create this year that will make me happy and benefit everyone around us? So we're going to work with releasing, but also manifesting, most powerful manifesting tools and technologies. Also, I'm going to show people how I work with intuition, because my intuition is the source of all my success.
Exactly.
Knowing how to work with fear, but also following my intuition. And so basically it's going to be highly intuitive year for you if you come and join me on the 21st. And
that's wonderful.
and
Yes, the intuition is on the we spoke, like you said, you spoke about the fear, but we have the superpower, that intuition, which we rarely use. Sometimes we use it, but we don't realize that we are using it. But what would happen if we were able to actually properly tap into that intuition and use it as our superpower? That the results would come much faster, right?
yes, and in fact, when we combine intention, intuition, learning how to turn fear into success, then life is filled with miracles. It's not always easy because life is meant to have some challenges, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But we know how to deal with it, and it's not the end of the world when something happens. Then you use it to your advantage, right? You bounce back very quickly, and you basically imagine how it would be if you walked around every day with open wings. This is how my intention is, that people will feel not just on the day, but throughout the year. And in fact, maybe we could give people a taste.
Yes, wonderful. Yes, so that has all been great. We will